That stubborn afternoon crash and vague abdominal heaviness aren't random. They may point to a quietly inflamed liver. The risk is subtle but real. Fatigue, brain fog, and a metabolism that seems to push against you. Here, you'll get a clear, practical path to support your liver safely, without extremes and with results you can feel. I used to dismiss my afternoon slump, that slight swelling around my waist after a big takeout meal, and the fog that made simple tasks feel heavier than they should. Busy schedule, right? Then a pattern surfaced. On days with a refillable soda at lunch, a caramel-heavy coffee on the way back to the office, and late-night snacking during a streaming marathon, I felt the same trio: fatigue, pressure under the ribs, and a mood dip that had no obvious cause. Nothing dramatic, nothing that would send anyone rushing to urgent care, yet something was clearly off. That's when I learned that the liver, our quietest multitasker, often doesn't shout. It whispers. The liver processes what modern routines throw at it: added sugars in supersized beverages, rich sauces on barbecued meats, creamy coffee drinks that are closer to dessert than to coffee, and yes, alcohol at the end of a long week. In a typical North American day, it's surprisingly easy to overload the system. When the liver becomes inflamed, it doesn't necessarily hurt. Instead, it may nudge your life off balance. Sluggish mornings, heavier digestion after dinner, concentration that flickers just when you need it, and a waistband that edges tighter even when your overall weight hasn't changed much. None of this is a diagnosis, only a reminder that small signals deserve calm attention. Let's keep this grounded and safe. This is educational content, not a substitute for medical care. If you have persistent pain, yellowing of the skin or eyes, significant swelling, or anything that worries you, see a qualified professional. For everyone else who simply recognizes these quieter clues, we can make steady, responsible changes that support the organ powering hundreds of tasks every hour. Start with awareness, not restriction. For the next week, keep a simple liver check-in. Each morning, note your energy on a scale of 1 to 10, your waist measurement at the navel, same time of day, same posture, and your first beverage choice. No judgment, just data. Patterns reveal themselves fast. If the day begins with a large sweetened latte and a glazed donut from the break room, your afternoon may be predictable. If it starts with water or sparkling water with a slice of lemon and a balanced breakfast, your curve can look different. This isn't punishment, it's pattern detection. A few swaps make an outsized difference in a North American food environment. Trade one sugary drink each day for water, unsweetened iced tea, or coffee without syrups. When choosing a coffee, remember that the add-ins often carry the load: flavored creamer, caramel drizzle, whipped toppings. Ask for less syrup or skip it entirely. Taste buds adjust quickly. At barbecues, watch the sauce. Many bottles lead with corn syrup and deliver more sweetness than you expect. A dry rub plus a squeeze of lemon can be just as satisfying. At the office, place protein and fiber up front. Greek yogurt without added sugar with berries, or a veggie omelet and whole grain toast. Stable energy is one of the most honest signals your liver sends you. Movement plays a quiet, protective role. After your evening meal, take a 10-minute walk, outside around the block, on a treadmill, or even pacing during a call. That short bout of movement helps your body handle what you just ate and can ease that heavy post-dinner feeling. Keep it gentle. We're not chasing records. Rather than late-night snacks that pair salt, sugar, and fat, try herbal tea or a small portion of fruit with a spoonful of nuts. Sleep is a liver ally. The later we eat and the shorter we sleep, the more likely we are to crave quick-hit foods the next day. Because this is health content, the details really matter. Amounts and preparation can turn a helpful idea into an unhelpful one if misapplied. For example, downing large amounts of any detox drink because someone on social media said so can backfire. So can stacking supplements without guidance or using pain relievers beyond the labeled dose. Respect the label, and when in doubt, ask a professional. Small, consistent, evidence-aware steps beat extremes every time. I also want to share something to keep you curious and, more importantly, to make your efforts more effective. At the end of this series, you'll get a simple kitchen bonus, a 10-second tweak that multiplies the benefits of a common vegetable most of us already buy. It's not a miracle, and it's not a sales pitch. It's a practical, science-friendly way to get more from what's already on your plate. And there's another daily habit that can either inflame or protect your liver depending entirely on how you prepare it. The what is familiar, but the how changes everything. Let's close this chapter with a steady breath. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Choose one beverage to simplify. Add one 10-minute walk after dinner. Notice how your body responds over 7 days. Write it down. Easy inputs, honest outputs. That is how we respect a quiet organ and invite it to work with us instead of against us. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it will not only leave you with poor results, it may also bring serious side effects for some people. So keep this guidance close and follow it carefully. If those quiet signals sounded familiar, energy that fizzles too soon, a fog that makes names and tasks stick for a beat, a waistband that feels snug even when the scale barely moves. Let's calmly decode what may be happening beneath the surface. Nothing here is a diagnosis, and there's no need for fear. This is a practical look at how everyday choices common across North America can nudge the liver toward inflammation, and what you can do, safely and steadily, to help it work better for you. Think of the liver as your logistics hub. When you sip a large soda, enjoy a bowl of sweet cereal, or drizzle a generous layer of barbecue sauce on a burger, your body receives a quick wave of sugars, especially fructose. Unlike glucose, which many tissues can use, most fructose is handled by the liver. In small amounts from whole fruit, that's fine. Nature packages fruit with fiber and water, slowing absorption. But when added sugars show up in drinks and sauces, the dose arrives quickly, and the liver does the heavy lifting. Over time, and especially when paired with late nights, frequent takeout, and weekend drinking, the workload can stoke low-grade inflammation. The result isn't always pain, it's often a pattern. Post-meal heaviness, afternoon slumps, cravings for quick energy, and a subtle shift in where your body stores fat. Here's the reveal most shoppers miss. Labels often list added sugars as grams per serving. Many bottles contain 2 or more servings, so that single drink or sauce-heavy meal can quietly exceed a reasonable daily target before lunch. The simple skill of label reading is a health lever you can pull today. Take 30 seconds in the grocery aisle, scan for added sugars, high fructose corn syrup, and syrup-style ingredients in the first 3 lines. If they're up front, the product is likely sweeter than you think. No drama, just data. Now the practical part. Choose one consistent swap and make it your signature move. If afternoon soda is your ritual, switch to sparkling water with a squeeze of lime or an unsweetened iced tea. If cafe drinks are your joy, ask for half the syrup and skip the whipped topping, or try a simple filtered coffee with a splash of milk. At cookouts and tailgates, go for a dry-rubbed protein and a generous scoop of slaw dressed with olive oil and vinegar rather than creamy or sugary dressings. Build your breakfast to anchor the day. Oats cooked in water or milk with cinnamon and a handful of nuts, or eggs with sautéed greens and a slice of whole grain toast. Protein and fiber together create a steadier curve, which your liver appreciates more than a spike and crash morning. Movement remains an honest ally. A 10-minute walk after your largest meal helps your muscles act like sponges for fuel that would otherwise circulate longer. It's small, it's free, and it adds up quickly. If you sit all day, try 5-minute stand and stretch breaks each hour. Set a phone reminder. None of this is extreme, and that's the point. Extreme is brittle, steady is durable. Let's talk about beverages again, because the North American environment loves to supersize them. Big gulps at the movies, unlimited refills at diners, sweet energy drinks during late-night study sessions, they're everywhere. Consider a 2-week experiment. For 14 days, keep added sugar drinks to 0 or near 0. Replace them with water, sparkling water, unsweetened tea, or coffee without syrups. Track your afternoon energy and your cravings after dinner. Most people notice a clearer head and an easier time stopping when pleasantly full. This is your physiology voting for simpler inputs. A word about alcohol and over-the-counter medicines. Moderate drinking within established guidelines may fit some lifestyles, but stacking several nights in a row, happy hours, game days, celebrations, adds workload your liver must process before it can return to everything else. Choose alcohol-free days each week and hydrate well. For pain relievers or other medications, follow labeled doses and warnings. Combining multiple products, taking them more often than directed, or mixing them with alcohol can increase risks. When in doubt, ask a clinician or pharmacist who knows your personal situation. Because this is health education, precision matters. The same food can help or hinder depending on how it's prepared and how much you use. A drizzle of olive oil on roasted vegetables is different from a heavy pour. Whole fruit is different from a tall glass of fruit juice. A simple coffee is different from a dessert-style beverage. Your liver hears those differences even when your taste buds don't call them out. For those who love clear steps, try this checklist for the coming week. 1. Replace 1 sweet drink per day with an unsweetened option. 2. Add 1 fist-sized portion of vegetables at lunch and dinner, preferably including something leafy or cruciferous. 3. Take a 10-minute walk after your largest meal. 4. Schedule at least 2 alcohol-free days. 5. Rid the added sugars line on 3 products you buy regularly and consider a lower sugar alternative. Keep it friendly and flexible. If you slip, simply restart at the next meal. Ultimately, the goal isn't punishment. It's partnership with your body. When you support the organ that supports you, energy steadies, mood evens out, and that subtle abdominal tightness often eases. Celebrate small wins. A calmer afternoon, a shorter craving window, a better night's sleep. Those are real signals that you're heading in the right direction. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it will not only leave you with poor results, it may also bring serious side effects for some people. So approach it thoughtfully and follow the guidance precisely. You've already seen how simplifying drinks and adding a short after-meal walk can steady your day. Now let's open the pantry door that most of us would rather keep closed. I'm not here to shame your barbecue nights, your Saturday cereal, or the stadium pretzel with a cola. I'm here to translate labels into plain language and hand you simple swaps that protect a very busy organ while keeping joy on the table. No fear, no extremes, just clarity you can use this afternoon. Here's the quiet truth. The liver is the primary traffic cop for fructose, the form of sugar that shows up not only in fruit, but more importantly for this conversation, in added sugars and syrups. Whole fruit is a package deal, fiber, water, micronutrients that slows the rush. Added sugars are like the express lane. When you sip a large sweetened iced coffee, pour a generous stream of barbecue sauce, or eat a bowl of frosted cereal, that fructose wave arrives fast. The liver does its job, yet repeated fast waves paired with late nights, little movement, and weekend drinks can push the system toward low-grade inflammation. Not a crisis, not a diagnosis, just an unnecessary headwind you can dial down. Labels carry the clues. In the United States and Canada, you'll see added sugars in grams per serving. Many bottles list 2 or more servings. Many cereals list unrealistically small portions. A sweetened coffee beverage might not even look like a soda on paper, but the syrups can rival the sugar content of a can of pop. Scan the ingredient list from left to right. If you spot high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, brown rice syrup, agave, or a parade of syrup-like words in the first lines, you're holding a dessert in disguise. Organic doesn't change the metabolic math. Raw sugar is still sugar. That doesn't make the product bad. It just means you deserve the truth so you can decide. Let's build a few high-impact moves you can live with. Choose a signature swap. If your afternoon slump is tied to a daily soda or a syrupy latte, pick one to simplify for 2 weeks. Sparkling water with lime, unsweetened iced tea, or a filtered coffee with a splash of milk will feel oddly plain on day 1 and surprisingly perfect by day 10. Taste buds recalibrate. Energy follows. Rethink sauces and condiments. At cookouts, commercial barbecue sauces often list sugar or corn syrup before tomatoes or spices. Try a dry rub, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, a whisper of brown sugar if you choose, and finish with lemon or apple cider vinegar for brightness. Ketchup has a place. Consider mixing it half and half with mustard or tomato paste to cut the sugar impact without losing that tang. Breakfast deserves honesty. Many boxes marketed as whole grain or high energy still deliver a candy bar-like sugar hit. Check the added sugars line. Aim for single digits per labeled serving, and remember that many people pour double. Oats with cinnamon, a handful of nuts, and berries taste warm and satisfying without the spike and crash pattern. Smart snacking at work. The American office loves donuts, birthday sheet cake, and energy drinks. Keep a backup. Greek yogurt without added sugar, string cheese, a small bag of nuts, or an apple. Pairing protein and fiber gives your liver a quieter morning than the quick hit from a frosted pastry. Grocery aisle rule of thumb. If sugar-style ingredients appear in the first 3 ingredients of a sauce or breakfast item, treat it like a treat. You don't need to ban it, you just plan for it. That small reframing helps more than any rigid rule. A note on juice, smoothies, and natural health drinks. Whole fruit contains fiber that slows digestion. Juice removes the fiber. Smoothies can be helpful when built on greens, unsweetened dairy, or alternatives, nuts, seeds, and just enough fruit for flavor. But a large smoothie stacked with sweetened yogurt, honey, and several bananas acts like a liquid dessert. If you love smoothies, use them as a vehicle for leafy greens, chia, or flax, and a modest serving of fruit. If you're living with diabetes, insulin resistance, or other conditions, check with your clinician about what fits your plan. Let's get practical with a 7-day pantry reset that doesn't feel like punishment. Day 1. Pull 3 products you use all the time. 1 sauce, 1 breakfast item, 1 snack. Read added sugars and count servings honestly. Decide if each earns a place as a staple or a treat. Day 2. Replace 1 sweet drink with water, sparkling water, or unsweetened tea. Keep the bottle visible on your desk. Day 3. Build a breakfast with at least 20 grams of protein and a fiber source, eggs and sautéed spinach with whole grain toast, or oats cooked in milk with walnuts and chia. Day 4. Test a dry rubbed protein and roast a tray of vegetables. Keep extras for lunch. Day 5. Pack an emergency snack kit. Nuts, plain yogurt, a piece of fruit, or a small portion of cheese. This prevents the 4 p.m. vending machine sprint. Day 6. Make a lower sugar barbecue sauce at home. Tomato paste, apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon or 2 of maple syrup, paprika, garlic, onion powder, and a pinch of salt. Simmer 10 minutes. Taste and adjust. Day 7. Review your notes. How was your afternoon energy? Evening cravings? Sleep? You may notice something subtle. Steadier focus, less heavy post-meal feeling, and fewer late-night snack urges. Those are real gains. The point isn't perfection, it's pattern shifting. If you choose to enjoy dessert or a festival lemonade, go for it with intention. Then return to your steady baseline without guilt. Alcohol deserves a careful word here because it intersects with sugar intake and social life. Tailgate beers, happy hour cocktails, and celebratory toasts can cluster in a typical North American week. Choose alcohol-free days, alternate with water, and respect serving sizes. If you take medications or have liver-related medical advice, follow that guidance first. Education supports care. It never replaces it. Finally, beware of detox shortcuts and megadose supplements promoted online. Your liver is already your detox system. Overusing unverified products can cause the very strain you're trying to avoid. If you're considering supplements, ask a clinician or registered dietitian who understands your health history and medications. Here's your small, powerful takeaway. The distance between an inflaming choice and a supportive one is often a single decision at the shelf or counter. Reading the added sugars line, asking for coffee with fewer syrups, choosing a dry rub over a bottled glaze, these are gentle levers that move big results over time. You're not depriving yourself. You're deciding with your future self in mind. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it will not only leave you with poor results, it may also bring serious side effects for some people. So approach it thoughtfully and follow the guidance precisely. You've started to see what happens when added sugars step back. Energy feels steadier, and the heavy post-meal slump doesn't boss the rest of the evening. That's a smart beginning, not the whole story. The next move is to feed your liver the kind of support it recognizes, simple foods that make the daily workload lighter. No exotic powders, no all-or-nothing plans, just everyday ingredients and a few preparation tricks that turn good ideas into real results. Think of your plate as a team with positions to play. Fiber acts like a steady midfielder, helping carry excess through the digestive tract and supporting a healthier mix of gut microbes. Leafy greens and other bitter vegetables are the helpful defenders that tell your system, in a quiet way, to produce the compounds that handle fats more gracefully. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, kale, bring specialized players that, when lightly cooked or thoughtfully prepared, can nudge your body toward better protection. Alliums like garlic and onions add both flavor and supportive sulfur-containing compounds. Berries and deeply colored produce deliver polyphenols that the liver reads as signals to tune up. None of these cure disease. What they reliably offer is a gentler fuel mix for an organ that prefers steady tasks over emergencies. Let's turn that into groceries you'll actually use in a North American routine. A big clamshell of mixed greens or arugula, a head of broccoli or a bag of pre-cut florets, a pint of blueberries or raspberries, an onion and a few cloves of garlic, a lemon, a bottle of extra virgin olive oil, a carton of plain Greek yogurt, a can of chickpeas, oats, and a carton of eggs. That's a week's worth of quiet help without a single specialty aisle. Preparation details matter more than people realize. Chop garlic and let it sit 10 minutes before cooking. This allows helpful compounds to form. Steam broccoli just until it's bright green and still a bit crisp. Overcooking dulls both color and potential. Dress bitter greens with lemon and olive oil, a pinch of salt, and cracked pepper. Fat and acid tame bitterness and make the nutrients more accessible. Roast Brussels sprouts with a light drizzle of oil and finish with a splash of vinegar for balance. When you cook grains, think of add-ins as much as toppings. Stir cinnamon into oats, fold in grated apple or carrot, and crown with a small handful of nuts for texture and staying power. If your mornings are hectic, batch cook. On Sunday, roast a tray of vegetables, boil a few eggs, and prep a jar of lemon olive oil vinaigrette. Keep washed greens in the front of the fridge, not buried in a drawer. When the visual cue is positive and the prep is done, you will use these foods. At lunch, assemble a bowl: greens, warm vegetables, chickpeas, a hard-boiled egg or leftover chicken, a spoonful of yogurt blended with lemon and pepper as a quick dressing. This is not culinary school. This is weekday fuel that respects your time. Beverages can support the plan too. A simple filtered coffee or an unsweetened green tea can be part of a balanced day when consumed in moderation and prepared without heavy syrups or creamers. Hydration is underrated. Many people mistake thirst for hunger and reach for a sweet snack. Keep a glass of water at arm's length and finish it before you decide what you're craving. Dining out is part of life, so let's make it friendlier to your goals without turning dinner into homework. Scan the menu for a lean protein, ask for double vegetables instead of fries, and request sauces on the side. If the salad arrives drowning in creamy dressing, use a fork to toss with a portion of the dressing rather than pouring the whole ramekin. If you're at a barbecue joint, a dry-rubbed option with a side of slaw dressed in oil and vinegar gives you the flavor you want without the sugar avalanche. You keep the joy of eating out while offering your liver an easier night at work. A few cautions, because health is individual. If you take blood-thinning medication, discuss large, sudden increases in leafy greens with your clinician, since these foods are high in vitamin K. If you live with hypothyroidism that isn't well managed, avoid very large amounts of raw cruciferous vegetables. Lightly steaming them is a gentler choice. If you have a sensitive digestive system or follow a low FODMAP approach, introduce onions, garlic, and legumes gradually, and note how you feel. Kidney disease changes how you handle certain minerals. Get personalized advice. This is education to help you make thoughtful choices, not a replacement for care. To keep momentum, anchor your day with the plate and thirds idea. 1/3 lean protein, 1/3 colorful vegetables, the more colors the better, and 1/3 whole grains or starchy vegetables as needed for your activity level. Then layer in small, consistent habits. Add a fist-sized portion of vegetables to lunch and dinner. Keep a bowl of washed berries at eye level in the fridge. Pack a small container of nuts for the commute. Take a 10-minute walk after your largest meal. These are the quiet rhythms that make the liver's job predictable, and predictability is where it thrives. Now for a small reveal that will pay off later. Cruciferous vegetables contain precursors that can form helpful compounds after cutting and light cooking. There's a simple kitchen move that boosts this effect using something you may already have in your pantry. I'll show you exactly how when we get to it. For now, just remember that gentler cooking and a thoughtful finishing touch can amplify what you're already eating. Celebrate the tiny wins. When dinner leaves you feeling clear instead of weighed down, when the 3 p.m. craving window shrinks, when sleep deepens because your late-night snacks lost their grip, those are not coincidences. They are feedback. Keep a small notebook or a note on your phone and jot down the patterns. Progress in health is rarely a single dramatic moment. It's an accumulation of honest choices that your body quietly thanks you for the next day. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it will not only leave you with poor results, it may also bring serious side effects for some people. So approach it thoughtfully and follow the guidance precisely. You've given your plate a quiet upgrade, more color, more fiber, fewer sugar spikes, and it's paying off in calmer afternoons. There's another layer that determines whether those wins stick or slide: the schedule you live by. Think of time, sleep, and alcohol as the 3 levers that either multiply your progress or blunt it. No scare tactics, just an honest look at daily rhythms common across North America. Late dinners after commutes, happy hour meetups, streaming until midnight, and how a few measured adjustments can protect the organ that handles the overnight shift for almost everything you consume. Start with timing. Your body processes the same meal differently depending on the hour. Big, late dinners, pizza at 10 p.m., wings after the game, leftovers while you finish a series, tend to linger. You feel it the next morning as a heavy stomach and a craving for something sweet to jolt you back online. A gentler pattern is to place your largest meal earlier in the day and let the evening be simpler. A plate with lean protein, 2 fists of vegetables, and a modest portion of starch if you've been active. If your schedule locks you into late meals, shrink the portion and add a 10-minute walk afterward. That small walk is not about burning calories. It's about signaling your muscles to use what you just ate so your liver doesn't carry the whole load. The idea of a kitchen closing time helps. Choose a window that works for you, something like 12 hours between the last bite at night and the first bite in the morning. This is not an extreme fast, it's a predictable pause. Many people find that finishing dinner 3 hours before bed reduces reflux, improves sleep quality, and tempers the late-night snack loop. If you're genuinely hungry after your chosen time, have a small, simple option: plain yogurt, a boiled egg, or a piece of fruit with a few nuts. The point is to avoid turning the late evening into a second dinner. Sleep is the quiet governor of your next day's choices. Short or irregular sleep pushes you toward quick energy. Sweet coffee drinks, office pastries, extra sauce on takeout, because tired brains want fast fuel. Protect 7 to 9 hours if you can. Keep wake and sleep times within the same 60-minute window daily, including weekends. Dim screens an hour before bed, set your room on the cool side, and treat your wind down like a routine you respect. Caffeine has a long tail for many people. Cutting off coffee by early afternoon can make it easier to both fall and stay asleep. When sleep steadies, cravings often shrink without a fight, and your liver's nightly workload becomes more routine. Now, a clear word on alcohol, because the North American week is dotted with reasons to drink. Tailgates, trivia nights, backyard parties, holiday gatherings. A single evening might feel fine, but stacking several can crowd your system, especially if paired with rich food and less sleep. Choose alcohol-free days each week. When you do drink, pace yourself, alternate with water, and keep servings honest. Wine around 5 ounces, beer around 12, spirits around 1.5, depending on the product. Eat before or with alcohol, not after. If you're on medications or have medical guidance about alcohol, follow that first. Education helps you apply care. It doesn't replace it. Over-the-counter medicines deserve attention here too. Pain relievers and cold remedies are common in desk drawers and bathroom cabinets. Read labels, respect the dosing schedule, and avoid taking multiple products with overlapping ingredients. Mixing alcohol with certain medicines is specifically warned against on the label. Heed those warnings. If you're unsure, ask a clinician or pharmacist who knows your personal context. The goal is not to scare you, it's to keep supportive routines from being undermined by something easily avoidable. Stress management might sound like a luxury, but it's a metabolic lever. Elevated stress nudges appetite toward sugar and quick fats, and it reshuffles sleep. You don't need an hour-long routine, you need brief anchors. Try a 2-minute breathing pattern. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, exhale for 6, repeated 10 times. Or step outside and walk to the end of the block and back while noticing 3 things you can see, hear, and feel. Small signals to your nervous system translate into fewer emergency-style food choices later. Movement rounds out the trio. Keep the 10-minute post-meal walk as a staple and fold in resistance training 2 or 3 days per week. Bodyweight squats and pushes, resistance bands, or simple dumbbells. Muscle tissue acts like a storage site for fuel, which means your liver isn't always asked to park the extra. If structured workouts feel out of reach, accumulate steps during your day. Take phone calls standing, park a little farther, use stairs when reasonable, and set a timer to stand and stretch each hour. Here's a 1-week rhythm reset. You can start tonight. Day 1, set a kitchen closing time and plan a lighter evening meal. Day 2, insert a 10-minute walk after your largest meal. Day 3, set a caffeine cutoff that still allows deep sleep. Experiment between noon and 2 p.m. Day 4, choose 2 alcohol-free days this week and mark them on your calendar. Day 5, batch prep 1 simple protein and 2 vegetables. Day 6, turn off screens 30 minutes earlier than usual and turn down the thermostat slightly. Day 7, review your notes, energy, cravings, sleep, and decide which 1 or 2 habits earned a permanent place. If you support time, sleep, and alcohol with the same calm precision you used in your pantry and produced drawer, the difference won't always shout. It will show up as steadier mornings, clearer afternoons, and a sense that your choices finally add up instead of fight each other. That's a fair trade for a few boundary lines on your daily map, because this is health education, a final reminder. Adjust gradually, check labels, and ask a professional if you have conditions or medications that call for tailored advice. Gentle consistency is safer and more effective than any dramatic swing. The next tip is one of the most important, and ignoring it will not only leave you with poor results, it may also bring serious side effects for some people. So approach it thoughtfully and follow the guidance precisely. There's a quiet ritual many of us rely on to start the day, one that can either support your liver or work against it depending entirely on preparation. You've already simplified syrups and smoothed out your meal timing. Now let's unlock the simple how that changes an ordinary habit into a steady ally. No drama, no miracle claims, just a practical method you can make once in the morning and carry through your day. The habit is coffee, and the key is filtration. Coffee naturally contains compounds called diterpenes that, when consumed in high amounts from unfiltered methods, can nudge certain blood lipids upward in some people. Paper filtration traps most of those compounds while allowing the flavors and helpful polyphenols to pass through. That means the way you brew matters. A paper-filtered cup can fit well into many balanced routines, while a heavy rotation of unfiltered styles, think metal mesh or press-style brews, may not be the best match if your clinician has flagged cholesterol concerns. This isn't a scare, it's an invitation to brew smarter. Here's a simple, repeatable way to prepare a cup that respects both taste and physiology. Start with fresh, medium-grind coffee. Use a paper filter, cone, basket, or pour-over, rinsed with hot water to remove any papery note. A practical ratio is about 1 rounded tablespoon, 10-12 grams, of coffee per 6 to 7 ounces, 180-200 milliliters of hot water. Aim for water that's just off the boil, not violently rolling, about the point when bubbles settle after you take the kettle off heat. Pour slowly and evenly, allowing the grounds to bloom and then continue at a steady pace. The result is a clean cup with the compounds you want and fewer of the ones you don't. Keep the add-ins honest. Sweetened syrups, heavy creamers, and whipped toppings can turn a simple beverage into a dessert without the pleasure of calling it dessert. If you enjoy milk, keep it to a modest splash. A dusting of cinnamon adds warmth without sugar. If you love a flavored note, experiment with a few drops of pure vanilla extract rather than a pump of syrup. Taste buds adapt remarkably fast when you give them a chance. How much is reasonable? For many adults, 2 to 3 cups spaced through the morning fits comfortably, though individual tolerance varies. If caffeine makes you jittery, disrupts your sleep, or interacts with your medications, choose decaf prepared the same way. People who are pregnant, have certain heart or anxiety conditions, or have been advised to limit caffeine should follow personal medical guidance first. Education supports safe choices. It never overrides them. For those who prefer tea, a similar principle applies. Preparation changes the experience. A short steep of green tea, 2 to 3 minutes with water just below boiling, yields a gentler cup with fewer bitter notes that push you towards sweeteners. Black tea is an option if it suits you. Choose unsweetened and adjust steep time to taste. Herbal options in the evening can replace late-night snacks, indirectly helping your next day's choices. Now the kitchen bonus promised earlier, the 10-second tweak to multiply what you get from a common vegetable. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli carry precursors to helpful compounds that form when an enzyme is present. Light steaming until crisp tender keeps texture and color. To boost the effect, add back a little enzyme at the table, a small sprinkle of mustard powder, about half a teaspoon, stirred into the hot broccoli, or a handful of finely chopped raw radish or arugula tossed on top. Another option is to chop broccoli and let it rest for 30 to 40 minutes before cooking. That pause allows the enzyme to do its work before heat. These are tiny moves with outsized returns that cost nothing and fit into real-world kitchens. Put it all together in a morning through evening rhythm that feels human. Brew a paper-filtered coffee or choose unsweetened tea. Build a breakfast that pairs protein with fiber, oats with walnuts and chia, or eggs with sautéed greens and a slice of whole grain toast. Carry a water bottle and finish it before lunch. After your largest meal, take a 10-minute walk. Keep dinner predictable, simple, and earlier when possible. Respect your sleep window. None of this asks you to be perfect. It asks you to be consistent, the kind of consistent that makes your body trust you. A few safeguards, because details matter with health. Avoid stacking caffeine late in the day if sleep is fragile. Good sleep is the lever that makes everything else easier. Read labels on any supplements, especially those marketed for detox or fat burning. More is not better, and combining multiple products without guidance can cause harm. If you take prescription medications or manage a health condition, talk with your clinician about how coffee, tea, or particular foods fit your plan. Personalization turns good advice into the right advice. If you want a one-page checklist from today's lesson, it looks like this. Brew with a paper filter. Keep add-ins light. Choose 2 to 3 cups at most. Or decaf. Pair breakfast with protein and fiber. Hydrate. Walk after your largest meal. Steam broccoli briefly and finish with mustard powder or a handful of raw radish. Close the kitchen 3 hours before bed. Honor 2 alcohol-free days each week and write down how you feel. Adjust, don't obsess. End with this thought. Health is not a maze of secret hacks. It's a steady conversation with your own biology. When you choose methods that respect how your body works, the results accumulate almost quietly. Morning clarity, calmer digestion, better sleep. These are the small trophies that tell you you're on to something. If this guidance helped you connect the dots, share it with someone who could use a kinder starting point, tap like, so the platform knows to show you more practical health content, and subscribe so we can keep building tools that fit your life.